So we need answers, episode 119. Today I got Lucretia in here. We go way back. She's another member of one of my favorite schools in Baltimore, Western High School, all girls school. That was my favorite school back in high school. We was just talking about that. But we ain't talking about that today. We talking about, so we came across this episode because I seen, when I'm on Instagram, I be lurking for ideas. And whenever I see certain posts, I like, if I feel like it's gonna speak to people, I always reach out. Anybody watching this, if I do reach out and you're not with it, I ain't gonna never take it personally. It's okay. I know everybody not cool with talking and all that's fine. But whenever I see stuff that I feel like people can relate to, it can motivate people, inspire them, I always try to reach out and get people to share more on the platform, because a caption only gonna go but so far.
Yeah.
When you actually hear the story, it speak to people in different ways, and I knew off top, yours would.
Yeah.
Because that's a hell of a progress. So
Thank you.
We can start off top. I ain't gonna spill the beans. I'm gonna let you do it. We can start from the top. Well, I guess we can start. I'll spill a little bit, because what I seen on the caption first was 8 years ago you left your life of dancing with the money you made off that night and no saved money.
Yep.
So from right there, we're gonna go backwards. You're gonna start from, how did you get into, when did you start dancing and what made you start?
Man, every time I tell this story, it's so funny to me, right? So I remember at the time I was actually in an abusive relationship, and I was working at a prison. I was young. I started working at the prison when I was 18.
CO.
And yep, I was a CO at Patuxent, Old Jessup, maximum security prison, right?
Okay.
And I remember jumping into it. And when I jumped into being a CO, I was in college as well, so I was going to copping. And so at the time, I got in a relationship with my daughter's father, and I was young, so I had my daughter at 19. And then, like I said, it was an abusive relationship, and I remember I felt like real depressed around that time, and I was like, something got to give. Like, I hated the job. After a while, I hated the job. Like, I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand the women supervisors. It was like they didn't like young girls. So
Jealous.
it was like they was jealous. I mean, it was horrible. And it's funny because to this day, like, I was like, I will never be like them women that I had encountered. And so fast forward, I remember was like, you know what? I think I'm going to have to figure something out. Like, I'm not going to be in this relationship no more. Like, I got to go. So it was like something got to give. I'm going to continue going to school because my dream was already to, get my degrees and everything and be who I need to be for my daughter. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to not go to school. And then I was like, well, it's going to have to be the job and this relationship. Okay. So I remember going, where did we go? Me and my homegirl at the time, I remember we sat down, we was talking about going to these pole dancing classes. So it was called Exotic, it was Exposed Fitness, that's what it was, Exposed Fitness. They was coming out with all these Exposed Fitnesses, right? So it was like, the strip clubs was on the scene at the time, like the rappers, it was a big deal. Everybody was talking about King of Diamonds down Miami.
What year was this?
This was, so I just turned 21. Okay. So I want to say,
like 2010, 2009?
Yes, it was 2011.
Okay,
that's what it was.
Right.
2011. And so at the time, I mean, Rick Ross rapping about it, Lil Wayne rapping about it, Yo Gotti rapping about it, Jeezy.
Yeah.
Like, it was really in the
Popular.
music, right?
Yeah.
And all you kept hearing about was like, yeah, we go to King of Diamonds in Miami, make it right.
Yeah.
So I remember me sitting there like, let's go down to the strip club, to see what it be looking like in there,
Miami
right?
or here?
No, we went here.
Okay.
But I did go down Miami, and I went to King of Diamonds a couple times. I didn't work in there, but just to see. And I was like, oh, these girls cleaning up like this? Oh, that, right?
So before you go, COs make good money.
Yeah.
You just, it wasn't enough for your happiness.
I mean, they made good money, but I couldn't see myself retiring at this job. Like, it was like you had to be a certain way. Like, your personality had to be hard, and I never had like this hard personality. And I was like,
gotcha. So how long was you working there?
4 years.
Oh, but what year did you realize that you couldn't do it anymore?
Well, funny story is, I went to go audition at the club at the same time I was a CO.
Okay.
So I kind of was still a CO.
Okay.
But as they say, it's no secrets in a jail. So, so it kind of came out, and I remember going to work and walking down the tier, and the inmates get to yelling like, "Yo,
oh yeah, you gotta
was
get out
at
of there.
Norman's," and
You
I
gotta
was
get
like,
out of there now. Ain't no way. Ain't no
my
way you stay there.
So the rumors actually started coming out, but I was already sick of the job anyway, so I
Yeah.
really didn't care.
Okay.
So I remember being asked to write a report that they heard that I was a dancer.
Damn.
But it's funny because at the time I went one time and I auditioned. And I think I was like, I don't know, because I was so nervous. But I don't want to jump all over the place.
Go ahead, got you. Do your thing.
But I had, what did I do? So I remember we was at the Exposed Fitnesses, and then we went to go down to the strip club to see what it was like in there. So I remember the girls kept saying, y'all look so exotic. So I'm like, exotic? What does that mean, right? But
like
just waved it off. Yeah. Like, so I just waved it off, and it was like, if you come down here, you'll make so much money.
What color was it?
This was Norma's. At the
Oh
time.
yeah,
Norma
exotic
jeans.
mean you don't look like none of the rest of the girls in here. That's
right. So, but at first I'm like, what does that mean? Right? So, anyway, so we was like, you know what? Let's go to the Exposed Fitness. We're going to learn some tricks, learn some pole stuff. So went there. The girls was like, y'all dance? We like, no. They was like, oh my God, y'all look so exotic. We like,
oh, exotic
what?
was the word.
It was the word. Oh my goodness. And so we like, what? So waved it off again. I didn't know how to dance at all, right? So I was like, ain't no way.
Dance? You know how club dancing, all that regular shit?
No, not really. I mean, I can probably two-step a little bit, but I never, it was funny because I never knew how to like pole dance, like dance in the club. Okay. And so I remember the girls said it, we went back, the girls said it again. So we was like, what they mean, like so much money, right? So we start thinking about it. Clicking. I was like, I mean, we see like Black China, like we was like, you know what, they drive nice cars, they got, nice homes.
And
so
Black China was popping around this time.
Yeah, she was really popping at the time. She worked at King of Diamonds at the time.
Down Miami?
In Miami.
Right? Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So we like, shoot, I mean, I guess we can go
give it a try.
So I never forget this day. Went to the store, got some outfits, got the shoes and everything. And I remember we went to Stadium first. Out DC, because Stadium was popping at the time. Mind you, Drake was rapping about it. Wale was rapping about it.
That was the most pop one, but they was so phony because they don't let you touch the dances.
Yeah. And I remember we went in there, but they said something like the manager not here, whatever. So it was like, all right, whatever. And I remember we was like, well, we're gonna try to audition at let's go see like a couple clubs downtown. I remember we went to Hustler. They don't really hire black girls like that at the time. So they tried to say like, something, the manager not here, something, but we like, whatever. Yeah. And I remember we was like, whatever we doing, we not going into Norma Jeans. I remember we was like, we going to see everybody. We not going in there, right? And I remember we was like, all right, go in the stage door.
What time of the day was this?
This was during the daytime.
Okay.
This was probably like around 4 or 5 o'clock.
Okay. Stage door is the first strip club I ever been in.
Stage door.
Trash.
Listen, when we walked in there, I looked from the wall to the other side. I said, oh no, all right. Oh Trash. No. So we walked past Norma Jeans. Had to walk past Norma Jeans to get to the car. The manager was standing outside.
Come here.
Yep. He said, oh, y'all want to work? So we look like, yo, we said we was not going. Right? He like, come on. So I was like, yo, I'm scared. Like, I was so scared.
And why was y'all against working there? Because everybody be there?
Because everybody was there. Yeah. Everybody. Yeah. So, and then I was still working at the jail at the time, and I was like, dang, it's probably going to come out. I don't want nobody to see me. Our family, nobody knew that we was doing this. Mind you, and I'm still in a relationship at the time, too. So,
well, you should have known that was going to be, no matter where you went downtown.
I had no idea that, because there was so many girls working there, like, I didn't think that they would be looking for
all them clubs, it's only about How many clubs is in there on Ball? Like 6?
Yeah, it's a lot of them.
So
Probably
you,
like, yeah.
you know eventually somebody gonna pop in one of them and
Yeah.
see. But go ahead though. Go
No,
ahead.
so it's so funny. I swear to goodness. So we go in Norma Jean's, and I remember the manager was like, "All right, go ahead and get dressed and get on the stage and audition."
And y'all ain't know what y'all was doing.
No. So I remember getting dressed. I swear I remember having like butterflies in my stomach, and I got on a stage, and I'm like, all right, let me just try to dance, look, right? And he walked away, right? He left when he said get dressed. So we got on the stage, and I got down. I was like, yo, I cannot do this. I kept running in the bathroom. I was like, I cannot do this. And so she like, girl, go ahead. Like, you know, you doing good. So get back up there. And I'm
This
like,
was
fine.
after you took the classes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get back up there. And I'm like, all right. And then I got down again. I was like, no, I can't do this. So it's funny because I was like, you know what? He ain't come back. So let's just go. Because, I mean, he ain't see us anyway. He was back outside. When we had our clothes on, walking out, he was like, so, y'all not working? I was like, you ain't even see us. He said, oh, I saw y'all on the camera in the office.
Okay.
Y'all good. Y'all staying the night. I was like, I gotta go home and think about this because I can't believe.
He was going to throw you to the wolves on the first night.
Yeah, I can't. So, went home. I thought about it. I was like, well, I guess you're a stripper now.
How your friend do?
She did all right. She did good.
She wasn't nervous?
I mean, I was more nervous than her. I don't know. Okay. She might have been nervous. I don't know. But I know I was, like, terrified. And I was like, I went home. I thought about it. I was like, well, I'm going to just go ahead and give it a shot.
Okay.
Went, gave it a shot that first night. Another night, I made $700. So I said, well, this was easy.
That's all she wrote.
Yeah, right. So
when you went home, was the second time you went? Well, the time you went after the audition, you was more comfortable. You still was nervous.
I still was nervous. It took a couple of times. I remember I used to be so nervous, like I never wanted to get on the main stage. I was like, I can just walk around on the floor and make my money.
Okay.
And then they had like the backstage, but it took me a minute to get on the main stage. Like, I wouldn't get on the main stage unless somebody was getting on there with me. But it took a minute to get on the main stage. I was like, yeah, I can't do this. And then after a while, I mean, that was it.
So how long was you dancing?
I danced for 4 years.
And what was the so being a transition from everything that you didn't like from the other job and abusive relationship, did things in your life change once you started dancing? Did it change for the better or?
No.
No.
No. Well, the good thing is, like, I was able to, I continue to be in school, take care of my daughter. But I feel like now I was on, like, the party scene now. Like, everything was, I mean, we in clubs now. We buying bottles. Like, I mean, you getting all this fast money. Yeah, so it's like, oh, I got money. Like, yeah, it's a lifestyle. So that's what I always say. That's a whole lifestyle. Like, when you in that whole lifestyle, like you drinking all the time. Because all you doing, you partying. You partying every night.
Right.
You know, so... Right.
Yeah. So what did your days look like once you went full-time stripping? Like, because I know you working at nighttime, so what's your days look like?
Well, funny, I actually used to do day shift.
Oh, okay.
Into night shift.
They say that's when all the working men be in there.
Yeah.
They spend money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so and you ain't gotta do nothing. You sit there and you talk to them.
Okay.
So
they want vent and all that shit too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it don't really be nobody in there like that. Like it be real chill, and so. I used to do daytime at Norma Jean's, and then I was really working at King of Diamonds at nighttime when King of Diamonds was 1
just
o'clock.
Open when it just opened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which one did you have bad experience at?
You said better?
Yeah.
I was more so at King of Diamonds a lot.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I was there a lot. My regular customers used to be in there all the time.
Okay. So you didn't. Oh yeah, you said you did both. So, what was the club scene like for you? Like, what was it like?
Funny, like I was always different, right? Like, and I didn't know that at first. Like, guys used to come up to me and be like, "Yo, why are you in here? Like, you are so different." And I used to be like, well, what you mean? Right?
You got exotic and different.
Right,
Just
I
getting
did. But it was funny because I never had to do a lot of the stuff that the other girls did.
Okay.
I could really sit there and talk to people.
Yeah.
Like, they would say, yo, you too pretty being here, or you too, you know, you smart. Like,
it sticks out in the strip club. Like,
Yeah.
you see ones that look like, all right, well, I see why she, or I know why she here.
Yeah.
But it stands out.
yeah, and like, even I just get to talking to them, like, you know, I'm in school, I'm just, you know, trying to get my degree and everything. So they would be like, it's funny because I would have guys like be like, yo, just sit here. I don't even want you to do nothing extra.
It sounds
just
like Players
sit right
Club.
here. Yeah,
Sound
yeah.
like Players
I
Club.
was diving though. I really was.
For
and
real.
the girls used to hate me. Yeah.
Beefing with 'em?
Yeah, and because of that, like, cause I'm not really like the type to you know, want to go around beefing with girls, but it was just like crazy because I never knew what the problem was.
Yeah.
I'm just coming in here,
Just jealousy.
I'm trying to get my money, and you know, I'm just going to school. I don't got time to be,
Right.
you know, playing with y'all. So, but it showed, and like the guys used to, the main ones that used to come down there. It's like I never really had to do anything. Versus girls that really had to like
Go all out.
Yeah.
Do everything. You was hearing a lot of stories about a lot of that stuff in there.
like what?
People getting down and doing a lot of wild stuff.
Yeah.
And seeing
like
it too.
VIP sections.
I
and
had
stuff.
like one of my first episodes was a girl that worked in the strip club. Like my first 3, she worked at 2:00, and she used to talk about she talked about a lot of her experiences in the strip club and all that. And she was saying that's where I got the working men and the day shift thing. And she was saying like how in there a lot of guys come in there do the daytime and they be like a lot of white men and shit like that.
Yeah.
And they just be in there. You ain't really gotta do too much for real. But I can't remember why she said she stopped. She was going to school too. And I think she said she seen one of her teachers in there or something like that.
Yeah, they having a meeting for it too.
Damn. So that should really be going down in there like that.
Yeah, so I remember when I didn't broadcast it, like my family, nobody knew. And I remember this one night, my professor came down there. I seen, I ain't gonna say it on here, but one of my family members in there. And my mother didn't know yet.
Okay.
And I remember I seen like 3 people I knew in one night, and I was like,
Damn.
you gotta say something. Because they gonna say something before
Right.
you say something.
So what'd you tell the teacher?
Funny thing is, my professor, I remember mentioning that I worked downtown, and she said, where? And I told her. She said, oh, I'm coming down there.
Oh, okay. She was young?
She was young.
Okay.
For some reason, I think she liked women.
Sounds
right?
Like,
But
sounds like it. When she said,
she
I'm
was like,
down there,
I'm
it sounded
coming
like-
down there. She bought her money and everything,
You
and
danced
bought
for?
the drinks.
Slide that capital A on my paper and we be all right. We ain't got to talk about this no more. We be all right. We be all right.
Yep, and I got A+ in that.
It worked out. It worked out. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So how was it seeing your family that day? Did that made you feel weird?
Yeah, because I mean it. Yeah, it did. Because you in there, right? Just say
Yeah.
you take your top off, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
see,
yeah.
you like,
Oh,
Right.
wait a minute.
like you can't try to slide it back on, like
U-turn, bust a U-turn in there.
yeah. So yeah, in the club, and King Diamonds was like small a little bit, so it wasn't like I could go. Yeah, so
I think I've been in there like twice. Now I ain't a big strip club person, but I think I've been in all of them downtown like once or twice. So what did you ended up telling your mother
Yeah.
because your family was in there? How'd that conversation go?
So it's funny because my mother, she never, when I told her, it was no judgment. Like she just was like, I could tell, she was like, well, I can't tell you what to do. But she was like, so you make a lot of money doing that? And I was like, yeah, no. And she was like, you be taking your clothes off? But I still like to try. I was like, no, not fully.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because my mother, even though I know she didn't like it, she didn't judge me from it.
Which is good.
Yeah, and she watched my daughter from me, for
Okay.
me, when I would be like, I gotta go to work, she'd be like, okay, well,
Yeah.
leave it here. So I
That's
could
what's
tell,
up.
I think she just couldn't wait till I was done with it.
Right.
She never really liked it.
So you had a plan going there.
Well, I did have a plan, but I didn't, if that makes sense. So
I got you.
I knew that I was going to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, of course, I was like, when I'm done, then I'll have my degree and then I'll, start working.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't that easy. Like, I think after a while when I was doing it, I was making so much money.
Got used to it.
I was getting addicted to the lifestyle. So I was like, well, I'm going to just continue to do this. So after a while, it was one of the things like when people was like, you going to stop dancing? Like, what? No.
Right. Yeah.
So
why would I?
Yeah, so I think that I knew I had goals, but I never had a plan
Okay.
until I really got tired of it, and I was like, I don't think this not for me. Like
Yeah.
I can't do it no more.
What made you get tired of it?
Because one, the environment, like the environment is like negative. I knew when I realized after I graduated college, and I had a party, like when I graduated. And when I realized that all the girls was looking up to me, like, oh my God, that's so good, you graduated.
The girls in the club?
Yeah, like what
Okay.
I gotta do, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it's like a light bulb went off because I was like, who I got to look up to?
Yeah.
If
Okay.
everybody looking up to me.
Gotcha,
Like it's
gotcha.
time to change my surroundings. And then like the same guys that would be like, you
different.
like while you in here, you different. It was like, yo, you gotta go.
Yeah.
Like you graduated. Like what you still doing in here? Like
True.
you got goals. You don't need to be in here.
True.
So once I realized I didn't belong in there and I didn't really need to be in there, and then a lot of stuff, like of course the jealousy was going on because it's females that need to be in there. They don't
Yeah.
have nothing else to do.
Right.
So I just was like, it's time for me to go.
So I feel like that going to college and dancing is so common, but it wasn't in the spots you was at. You was the
not
only one like
really.
that.
Yeah.
So what was you going to school for?
Criminal justice.
Okay. So you had a plan going. You got to have a plan with that major.
Yeah. So I actually always wanted to be a lawyer.
Okay.
And so I kind of knew that going to school for criminal justice, like I can't be this dancer that's all exposed. At the time, Instagram actually had just came out. Instagram wasn't really popular then. It was more so Facebook. But I've realized that you can't broadcast yourself as a stripper and want to be
a
an
lawyer.
attorney, one day.
They ain't gonna mix.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna take you serious.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna take you serious. So
Yeah.
I get that. So I know on your post you said that it was young people that needed you. Was you referring to the people that looked up to you in the strip club?
No, so when I say like, young people that need me, when I was in that lifestyle, I feel like I would have needed a me.
Okay.
Right? Like now it's when I look now, I see like Black China, Alexa Sky, like I see them doing stuff around, trying to be, become a new person.
Yeah.
But I honestly feel like it's not too many people like me that's doing what I'm doing. Like,
True.
and I am different, right?
That's
I
true.
guess that goes back
Yeah,
to
yeah,
you
true,
different.
true.
So what I do is I use my story and my journey to really motivate and help girls, especially and young women, especially those in that lifestyle, them thinking about getting into that lifestyle. You got girls that's like, that could be prostituting, anything. And so I just be like, let me use my journey and my story to really guide and help women, because I know if I would have seen that at that age, not saying that I was looking for like a mentor or somebody, but that might have caught my eye.
Yeah, it's necessary.
Yeah.
It's helpful, and I talk about that a lot on here. Just like certain people that got certain careers, in our community, we only know what we see. It's the street shit. Even if you working, girls being nurse, doing hair, dudes cut hair, shit like that. So if you see somebody doing something different, you more inspired to try to do something else.
Right.
Especially if it's something that's going to get you a lot of money.
Yep.
And it could change your whole lifestyle all the way around. So I definitely get that 100%.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I even had like guys that like bought my book, read it, like, oh my God, I didn't even know like that this what I contributed to when I went to the strip club.
Right.
You know, like I really had
That mean a lot.
guys, even like guys that might have been in the streets, like, yo, this is so inspiring because you talking from the stripper standpoint, from the female's perspective, but like this is good for guys that's want to escape the lifestyle of the streets.
Yeah. It's like seeing somebody that seeing the effects of you selling drugs.
Yeah.
It's just going to change once you see the other side of it.
Yeah.
What's the name of your book?
Degraded to Elevated.
How you come up with that?
So I was sitting there and I already was actually writing a book about my life. And I remember I had a financial coach at the time, and she was like, how was your weekend? And I was like, it was good. And I just was like, I had went to one of my friends from that lifestyle had invited me to her son's birthday party. And she's actually like, I only had probably like 2 friends down there. And I remember I was like, yeah, I'll come to your son's birthday party. So I had took my son to a son's birthday party. And I remember sitting there, and like the other girls that she was friends with, I remember them from down there. They've been dancing for years.
Okay.
And I remember sitting there and looking at them because you get to see them with like no makeup on, like
totally
in the
different
light.
look.
And I was like, yo, the only thing I was like, dang, I'm so glad I don't look like hard like that. Like they look tired. So I'm telling her about, over the weekend and this what happened. And I don't know how I got on the topic, but I just started talking about it. So she was like, I would have never been able to tell like that you ever did that. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, how was it? Like, did you like it? And I was like, so I get to running down everything to her. And she was like, that's crazy. You told me about everything about what you didn't like about the lifestyle. She said, you know what I never read before? I said, what? She said, a book that says 5 steps on how to leave the lifestyle. So I was like,
that's real.
Yeah, I was like, wow. That night when she said that, I went home. I started writing an outline. And all I had was 5 steps to leave the strip club.
Okay.
So I get to writing an outline. The next day or 2, COVID happened. And we had to leave the building. And so I went home, and we never returned back to work. So I get to write in my book. Writing. So it took me I think I wrote that book in a couple months.
Okay.
And then wrote it out, finished it, and I said, all right, I'm going to contact the publishing company, but I need to come up with a title. I just sat there, and I was like, Degraded to Elevated.
That's hard.
it just came to me.
Yeah.
And so it's Degraded to Elevated, 5 steps to leave the strip club.
Okay. And it's broken down like that?
Yep. I talk about why I don't recommend a lifestyle, everything that happened. Like I talk about different stories in the book. And then I break down 5 steps on what to do to leave the strip club.
So if a young lady was in the same position you was, that was trying to figure it out, what would be your advice to instead of going that route?
You said, what would my advice be to her?
If she was in that same position that you was in before you went down there, it was like, let me just try this out.
Yeah.
What would you advise her to do?
And I would like to know, because I feel like a lot of the choices we make comes from our experiences and like certain childhood experiences. So I think, and which is why I'm in a lane of mentorship, like I would really want to know like why. What's your reasoning for wanting to do this? Do you have any goals? Like where are you trying to get to, and how do you think that this could help you get to where you're going? Like I said, like who's your support system? Who are you talking to? If you feel like this is a decision that you want to make.
Okay.
So I remember, probably being at that age and not really wanting to hear what people had to say. But one of the things that I said that I would do is I like to be relatable. So I'm still young, even though you can't tell that that's what I ever did, but I don't like to for lack of better words, like I always say, I never wanted to be this person that looks like she just, you know how somebody just be designing it down,
Yeah.
right?
Unapproachable. Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
And I was like, I still want to be relatable to the females. To look like,
that make a big difference.
Yeah, to look like she's successful, but dang, she can
look
get
like
down
me.
on my level. Yeah, she look like me. So yeah, exactly.
Okay. So damn, I had something right when you were saying that. But anyway, so do you feel? I know everything happened for a reason. I'm not sure if you would change your path if you could, but if you was to, do you feel like you could have went a different route instead of the strip club at that point in time? Or you think that was what you got you where you needed to be?
I could have.
Okay.
But the thing is, what I always say is I wasn't meant to. Like I was meant to do this because of where I'm at now. True. All of that, of course, they say you never know why you go through what you go through until you get on the other side of it.
Very true.
And so I never even looked at it as what would my life be if I didn't.
Yeah.
Because I feel like now this is my lane. Like all I do is I talk about my story, my journey. I mentor women. I help coach. I do all of these things, but it's only because I've been through all of this stuff and I'm so passionate about it.
Right.
So it's like,
I get you.
Yeah, I don't think I was meant to go any other way.
It's part of your path, part of your journey. Where can they get the book at?
So it's on my website, Lucretia.com.
Okay.
It's almost. It's also on Amazon as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how did you get into the mentorship and coaching and all that?
So after like my journey of dancing, I just realized like once I left the lifestyle, which I talk about in my book, I started like completely over. Like I said on that post, I didn't even have no money. Like the only money I had was the money that I saved up. At the time from dancing, I was in this 3-way relationship. Yeah, that's a whole other story.
That's in the book?
I touch very briefly on it.
What's the 3-way relationship? You ain't got to share as much as you feel. You ain't got to share nothing you don't want.
Yeah, so I was in a polyamorous relationship from dancing.
Okay.
Met this couple down there, and I remember I wanted them to keep coming down there and spending money on me.
They were spending a lot of people.
They were spending money on me, and I remember they asked me to go to Miami with them. And I'm sitting there like, when you dance, sometimes you just gotta say anything to keep somebody as your customer. Yeah. So I'm like, all right. And I remember they keep coming down there. After a while, they was like, so you going with us? And I'm just looking like, I don't know. And they like, just think about it. But anyway, we had went out, and I remember the wife invited me out, and I'm sitting here looking like, what we about to talk about? She like, we looking for a girlfriend. I was like, I don't know. Right.
They was older?
They was about 10 years older than me.
Okay.
And I remember I was like, okay.
How do this work?
Well, it's actually a plot twist to it. And I like to warn people before I say this because it can be heavy. It didn't end well because fast forward, it ended in he committed suicide and he killed her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he actually said he was on his way to my house, but he never showed up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
So it didn't end well. And, yeah, like I said, that's a whole nother story. I mean, and I don't mind sharing it. But once... it's like all of these things kept happening at once, and I was like, "It's time to." It was all the signs I needed to. You need to get your life together.
I got you.
And turn your life around, and just get it together. And I remember I started going to church real heavy after that, and my mother and I, we would have like our relationship was, we would get along, and then sometimes we wouldn't. But I remember like from that. I really was like, you really have to mend relationships because I've seen, here today and gone tomorrow. Yeah. And so after that, like I said, he said that he would help me when I had stopped dancing, but then that happened. So I really had nothing. So
Who
I
said
remember the
guy?
husband.
Oh, okay.
The husband. And so, he did it, and I was just like, oh my God. And I remember, like I said, not having really much money saved up because I was blowing through my money. But I left because I was like, I can't do this no more, so I'm going to just have to. And like I said, I remember my lights getting cut off. And I was like, but I'm not going back to dancing. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And so
That's discipline.
yeah, and I remember like and that's what I feel like a lot of people don't be willing to share. Like I want to be as transparent as possible because it's not like I blinked and I got here today.
Yeah.
I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like I feel like I struggled. I was working at Old Navy. After I stopped dancing, I got a job at Old Navy making $9 an hour, and it wasn't even full time.
Damn.
And I still had a child, so, and I did start going to school for my master's. And so I remember, it wasn't nearly as much money, but I was like, if you just keep pushing,
it's going to work out.
It's going to work out. And so I was going to school for my master's, and I remember like, I applied for the federal government to work there. And my mother, she was working there, and she was like, put in for these jobs. And I was like, the federal government don't hire nobody, right? Yeah. And I remember putting in for the job, and they called, and I got the interview.
Damn.
And so, like I said,
you
it was
had
like
no experience?
No.
Oh, shit.
No, the only thing I probably had was my education.
Right.
And the only job I had prior to that was the job at the prison.
Oh shit.
So
you really think faith got you there, or was it just? Oh.
Yeah. I always say I feel like once I just, I was praying, I turned my life around. I was putting in for jobs, but I felt like the jobs, they wasn't calling me back. And then, like I said, my mother was like, put in, they hiring. Got picked up with the government. Like, that's a career job.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Making all right money. I was like, oh. And then right after that, I graduated with my master's. So, like, I felt like everything was coming into play. Like, I end up, like, I remember I had filed bankruptcy because my credit wasn't the best at the time. Filed bankruptcy, started completely over. Clean slate. Like, now I always say, like, how after that, I bought, I bought a house. I had bought, and even though, like I always say, it's not about the cars, but, like, I remember walking into the BMW dealership, buying a car off the showroom floor. Now, buying another car, like, finances in order now. I got 2 beautiful kids. Like, I'm an author, I'm a coach, I can go down a list, and I really feel like it's because I really turned my life around. And I was like, okay, like, this not the route that I need to go no more. And because of that, I always say, like, I never would go back there. And funny thing is, when I used to tell people that I stopped dancing, it's always people that want to hold you back and keep you in that place. And I remember, which I'm so appreciative now, that people used to say, hey, once a stripper, always a stripper. Oh, you coming back. You'll be back. And I remember those words. And I remember, like, people saying, you'll be back dancing.
That's your motivation.
That was my motivation. Now, when people see me, all they can say is, I'm so proud of you. Dang, how you do that?
Right.
That's what's up. But it be the same people that was
that was saying that.
Yeah.
Wow. It's really sound like a move. We need Players Club Part 2 or something. That's all I'm saying.
I was the real diamond.
Yeah, that's real. That's serious though. Like that's definitely motivational. Like to go. It's if you think about it, it's really like if you take a nigga like leaving the drug game alone.
Yep.
Like saying like the lights went out. You don't know where to get the money now, and you know what you was walking away from, and it's like I'm staying tall.
Yep.
I'm staying down, and I'm gonna walk away from it, and then it really work out. But I guess the most important thing is to have a plan too. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people, you can do that, and I think a lot of people should do that, especially if it's something negative you walking away from. But when you don't have a plan, I think that's when it's easier to go back. Yeah. That's why they say that, because it's like you don't know what you're doing, then you gonna come back because you all this money. Yeah. If
you're not mentally strong, you will let the money overpower anything, when really that stuff is so short lived. Yeah. And one of the things I got even write about in a book is like, females don't be thinking about how you don't have no insurance down there. True. I mean, the good thing is I was still on my mother insurance, but you have no dental, no benefits, no 401k.
Nope.
A lot
All
of times,
cash.
all cash. You sit up there probably like me, blowing through money. I mean, because really, unless you have a plan, are you really saving?
No.
You can't.
You know it's coming back.
Yeah. My thing is, how
Real
could I have
D-boys, for real. Y'all
Yep.
real D-boys.
How could I have bought a house?
Yeah.
I ain't got no pay stubs.
Exactly.
You know, like
Exactly.
that's the
You know,
stuff
it's a will.
that
Where there's a
matters.
will, there's a way. But
It
you want to
is.
do it the right
You
way.
want to do it the right way. Because let me tell you something. Every time I did a shortcut, it came
go
back.
back on you.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
That's
try
a
to
fact.
do
That's a
things
fact.
the right way now.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that. That's very important. Like a lot of times, I was just talking about that to somebody. It was a few months ago, but we was talking about like people was coming through with scams and all that stuff, and he was like, you know what? It was taxes. They was like, no, I was gonna get somebody to do my tax. He was like, but you know what? I ain't in because I did it before and I paying all that shit back now. It don't even be worth it. Don't even be worth it. At the mile. So that's a great
For
point.
real.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
You talked about being a leader, a motivation or mentor leader in the government also.
No, I'm a supervisor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought
in
you
the
said
federal
something about
government.
that in the post, but
Well, the good thing about that is, so now as my life has changed and now I'm in position, like I feel like I never even really saw myself as being a supervisor in the government, but I'm a leader with other things that I do, like mentoring, coaching, helping females. I'm even in a leadership entrepreneur group where I have like prestigious mentors.
okay.
And so I remember, people telling me like, they need more people like you that's a leader in the government. And I was like, I don't know, And I remember I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and apply for the position. And long story short, I got the position. And I find myself as being a leader in the workplace now.
Okay.
And now my employees are young people that kind of look up to me or get guidance from me.
Yeah.
And I could have been any other place. Like I could have been a leader over top of like older people, right? But I was placed with the young people. So
like you said.
Yeah, so it's funny because like a lot of them, they come to me and be like, I don't know where you came from. But I'm so glad that you're my supervisor. And it's so funny because when I'm there, I coach them, I mentor because I have to bring me wherever I'm at. So and it's stuff that in my life that happened that I said, I want to be this type of leader.
Like
and
you
so
said
now,
at the jail.
And so now I bring it in a workplace, and now I notice how I'm making a change in a workplace, especially with these young people that's here, because you have so many leaders or supervisors that really don't give.
Right. And that makes a huge difference, especially hearing that from somebody. That I know that made your day hearing that, like, because like you said, you don't get a lot of. Like you said, you experienced the jealousy, you experienced the people hating and all of that, and then it's definitely. I don't work in it, but I'm sure I heard stories about the government, how people can be like that. People don't want you to advance a lot of times, and then you got somebody close to age, on the same type tip, like probably wear the same type of stuff, all that, so they can relate to you, and it's very important, especially with women. I think it's super important with women because I feel like women. The y'all get more jealousy than a man would get more than and especially in the workplace. Especially in the workplace. So.
I agree. And one of the things I also say too, and this goes with like my success story, is that I've been working in the government for a short amount of time, and it's hard sometimes to get promoted. And I always say like that. One of the things that God blessed me with is I wasn't there that long, and it wasn't like I had to do all this other stuff. I got promoted to being a supervisor. Like some people have to go to this job to do this job and this detail and this detail, and I'm like, I came in as this, and now I'm here, So, and I remember my mentor at my job had said, because she doesn't really know, about my story, personally, but she had said, do you talk about your story to the employees or to other people? And then I was like, not much. And she was like, do you know, like, you became a supervisor within 5 to 6 years. Like,
and
that's hard here. And she was like, I think you should tell more people that.
Yeah.
You know, like, you need to tell more people about your story. But, of course, it is because of what I do outside of work, too.
Right.
You know, which is like, bring it here. Yeah. Tell people.
So what makes you, what you think got you to get that quickly, that position?
Because I do what God tell me to do, right? And I feel like
Okay. I like
everything that I do outside of work, it shapes me to be a leader overall.
Okay.
And so once people, because sometimes it takes community and it takes people around you to tell you, like, that sees great things in you.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you can see them great things in yourself, but a lot of times it's the people that's around you that's straight pushing you, pulling you, like,
You need
why,
that.
yeah, it's like, why
that.
you this type of person, you always doing this outside of work, you write well, you an author, you this, why you not going up for that leadership position?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what, you're right.
True.
So
I from what you just said, in a nutshell, what you just said, that last part, I feel like once you change the people that was around you, a lot of that stuff started to shift too, because you wasn't getting that kind of motivation from.
Man, I'm going to share something that, it's funny because I just did an interview last weekend talking about this. I had a few friends, and when my book came out, I don't have those friends anymore. And, you know, when I think about it, it's no way. I think I was surrounding myself with, I outgrew people, and also it wasn't all the right people surrounded around me. And I remember once I lost those two friends, more because and I pray a lot. So when I pray, I ask God to put me in the rooms, right? Put my name in rooms that that I'm not even in yet. Surround me with community of people, like-minded people, people to network. I always say, put me in a room with the millionaires and the billionaires, right? Because I know it's coming.
Right.
But when, you know, you pray them prayers and he start removing those people that don't belong, he place you with those people that do belong, which is one of the reasons why I'm in my group, my entrepreneur group. This is a bunch of like-minded people that's all entrepreneurs, that's all trying to make differences in the world. We come together. We all like over. We in different states, but we still connect. Like we talk all the time. We branch out ideas. And so once I started getting in rooms with like-minded people, the people that's for me, like the people that's constantly pushing me, that's like, it's a blessing to me because, like, I'll take that over money.
Yeah.
You know?
It's going to get you way more.
Yeah.
It's going to get you
so
way more.
it's like I'm happy, you know, with knowing that I really have. Once those people that weren't for me were out my space, I feel like, oh, he has been and is still blessing me with people and connections that belong in my space.
So how you find that group?
So my mentor is also a pastor.
Okay.
But he does a lot of work in the entrepreneur space.
Okay.
So I actually watch him online. And then I remember watching him and I was like, you know, he is different, right? Like I like the way it wasn't like he was just preaching, he was teaching.
Okay.
And so I remember him saying that he was doing a challenge, and the challenge was called Rock the World with Words. And basically he was saying, if you are a communicator of any type, like whether you're a speaker, you're a coach, you're a teacher, I'm going to create a challenge on how to help you communicate and speak with people. And so I remember I joined this challenge. I paid a little VIP and everything, and once I was in a room and he's teaching us all this stuff about life and how to be an entrepreneur and what to do. And he, at the end of it, he launched this, he said he had it's called I3 Inner Circle. He said, I'm opening up my I3 Inner Circle to only 100 people. When I mean, it was 700 plus people on this Zoom, right? Wow. He said only 100 people. And because he's like a big, like an entrepreneur, and he's good. Like, if you just watch anything that he do, I mean, he's good. And what I also noticed that I needed was with anything, whether it's like a therapist, a coach, a mentor, I want them to be Christian-based because they apply it to what God say about you.
Okay.
So because I like how he apply it and bring it together, I was like, you know what? I'm going to join this inner circle. So I remember I put in an application because he said he only can take people like that really is trying to make a difference and a change in the world. And it's him and his wife, and they like certified coaches, and they do a lot. And so I remember I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and put in my application. And they was like, you know, congrats. We want to accept you to be a part of our inner circle. So now what we do is we get together. We him and his wife do live events. And we go, like, you know, we travel out of town to go to the live events. And they teach us all type of like skills to launch like anything you're doing from an entrepreneur standpoint. Yeah.
That's hard. That's dope. You mind sharing with the name? His name?
His name is Dr. Darius Daniels.
Okay.
And his wife name is Shamika Daniels.
Okay. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
That
And
like
it's good.
Right, it sounds like the right group to be a part of.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I've seen my growth in the entrepreneur space, in the business space, because I remember like at one point, probably like a couple of years ago, I had to overcome my fear of like speaking or speaking out. Like I knew I always told my story, but I noticed now once I got in that space, I do more public speaking. Like they even teach you how to speak, how to form your story, how to, you know, anything from an entrepreneur space.
Because you broke everything you done broke down today is perfect. So you got this from that, or
I could see how probably a lot of it. Yeah, it helped. And I'ma just, you know, say this too. Funny thing is how I knew I was meant to get this position as a supervisor was because he, Dr. Darius did a course called Leaders University, right? And I remember watching the course, and he's basically talking to you about how to be an effective leader. And so I was like, you know what, I think I can do this job. And I remember having an interview. And then passing the interview, and the second part of it was like a writing sample. The night before, I'm watching Leaders U, and he was explaining the difference on, I think it was self-leadership and leadership. I did the writing sample the next day. The question was, describe the difference between leadership and self-leadership. It was something like that, but it was like literally. That same thing I just watched. I didn't know that was going to be the question.
Right.
And I was like, oh, done. That is it.
Sounds like a school project or something.
Yeah, right. And I was like, that's crazy how God will line things up for you to get it. It was already there to get.
Yeah, confirmation.
So, it was confirmation. That's exactly what it was.
That's one of my favorite words, and I feel like your story is nothing but confirmation. Like everything you shared. It's like you keep getting confirmation that you're doing the right thing. Yeah. Like not going back, going this route, going that route, and then just keep moving. Like you getting promoted so fast. Yeah. It's confirmation. Okay, I made the right decision. I ain't come here to be stagnant in the bullshit and just have a job just to have. This is my career. Yeah. So. And
you know, when you say confirmation too, like when you saw that post, right? That's another reason how I know stuff is confirmation. Because when I posted it, I wasn't even going to post that picture because it's my work picture. You know, and I just was like, I don't need to post that. And something was just like, just post it and, and create the story. No, I'm sorry.
No, I was sorry for cutting you off. But that picture, I think that was the right picture because it shows the progress. Yeah. It shows this is where I'm at now. Yeah. If you read that, if I ain't know you from nowhere, and I read that caption, because you could put a regular picture up and say I'm a supervisor in the government, and people are like, wait, that's bluffing. Like you could be just saying this, but the picture is the proof. So and Instagram be lies anyway most of the time. So
and that's what sets me apart because I like to be authentic and as transparent. I don't want to do what everybody else doing.
For sure.
You know, like I'm gonna break it down. I don't mind telling people I filed bankruptcy. I don't mind telling people, I was a dancer. Like because you have so many people on the internet that's trying to pretend who they not.
Yeah, ain't nobody perfect.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just talk about my story and what helped me because I don't even want people to look at me and say, oh, she always been like, how people look at you and say, oh, she doing good. No, let me show you how
where I came from.
Where I came from. And when I posted that picture, I was just talking about this recently. I just was like, just write the caption and hit post, right? And I literally just jumped on my I3 group right before I hit send. After I was done, I swear the next
Shit
day,
blew up.
it blew up. I had between Instagram and Facebook, it was 600 plus likes.
Yeah.
And like hundreds of comments. And I
Right.
was like, that's how I know
Yeah.
that I need to continue to talk about
For
what I'm
sure.
talking about, because people really want to hear what you
Yeah,
gotta
real
say.
shit.
And it wasn't no bad comment. You know, how some people
Yeah.
will come on there,
Throw a little bit of hate in there.
nobody was like, please
Right.
keep going, please keep
That's what's
sharing.
up. That's
You
what's
know,
up.
so
That's what's up. It's definitely a hell of a testimony and a journey. Like, I salute you 100%.
thank you.
Real shit. So when do people reach out to you for mentorship, like on a one-on-one?
Yeah.
If somebody was to watch this and want to like get some motivation or some inspiration from you, how can they?
So I'm always posting on my Instagram. I am Lucretia. You can DM me. My website is lucretia.com. It's a part, if you go on my website, that says connect with me. You can send me a message. It comes straight to my email. I'll respond quick. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said originally you wanted to be a lawyer, right? Mm-hmm. Is that still a part of your plan, or?
One, I don't want no more student loans. Honestly, this is my lane right here.
Okay.
It's like a lot of this take up so much of my time, and then being a mother, and then, like I said, working. At first, I thought that I was just supposed to maybe go just the entrepreneurship route. But what I realized is by me moving up in my career, that's also a part of my story and my
True.
testimony.
True.
So I think I'm kind of meant to do both.
True. Gotcha.
But the only way I would go the route of being a lawyer is if it's just I got done with everything and I had some free time, and I was
Right.
like, you know what?
Yeah.
I always said that I would do this. Let me go back and do it.
I get that.
So.
I get that. So, and you said, I meant to go back on this. You said that you got that job with no experience. So when you got the job, you had to learn everything. Like you didn't know nothing about what you got hired for.
No.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's
Yeah.
up. That's a big blessing.
Thank
I
you.
salute you for that.
Thank
I definitely
you.
salute you. And I think what I got, what I got from this, I'm definitely motivated. I'm definitely inspired. What I got from this is confirmation, and I also got that you gotta have discipline, and you gotta stay down on what you believe.
Yeah.
Like when that whole part about working the Old Navy and all that, and not going back, lights cut off, that part spoke volumes, because like you said, and like I said before, like a lot of dudes be in these same positions with the street shit.
Yeah.
And then people be like this a lot of people I know that was getting it in a long time ago, well, not a long time ago, but just like it was living that and really living that lifestyle. And then they just, when you see somebody wash their hands with it and walk away, it's like, I can't believe it. Even if you see like they don't look how they used to look, but if you got a plan and you trust that you're gonna be all right without it, it's gonna work out.
Yeah.
And I wholeheartedly believe that. I believe that if you like people, it's not as severe with me, but even with this, like people, sometimes I get a little bit annoyed when people ask me, but I know it's not in a negative intent when they ask you, like, you make money from that yet, or you do. I'll be like, no, but I know what it's coming from. I know what I'm due for.
But you know what? People, they will always ask, because they look. One of the things I realized, one of the hardest things in business and being an entrepreneur is consistency. And a lot of people that you don't even think be looking at you be looking.
Yeah,
They
you
be
never
looking
know.
and they trying to
You never
figure
know.
out, is they making something for this? How they doing it?
Yeah.
I know they doing good. You know,
Yeah,
but
very
you don't
true,
even
very
know the background of everything it takes
Right.
to get to a certain place.
Yeah.
And consistency
Yeah.
is hard, because
For sure.
when you really, pushing stuff out, like, you got to stay consistent with
Yeah.
these podcasts. You just
Yeah.
can't fall off,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's actually like a good thing too. When people see the consistency, they're probably looking like, dang,
Yeah.
I know you be pushing these things
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Like,
Real
you
shit.
know, yeah.
Real shit. But but like I said, I know it's for me, and I
Yeah.
know it's coming. So I don't trip all day, and I love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If I ain't like it and I wasn't making money, I said hold it, I'd end it. But
Yeah.
I love what I'm doing. I love this platform, and I love finding stories like yours to share with people, because I know these are the type of stories I watch on Instagram or listen to when I listen to a podcast. So I know it's going to speak to somebody, and I know somebody be like, yo, that helped me, or
Yeah.
I love that story and this and that. So I got a series called The Real Wire,
Okay.
and it's usually about like older people growing up from the city, or somebody living that lifestyle from the city that talk about how it was to now and all that. But I think this gonna be a part of that series because you're a product of this.
Yeah.
Your story can be in any city, but this is a unique story from Baltimore. So
Thank you.
I'm gonna put this on that wide series, and I think that like I said before, I salute you. I tip my hat.
Thank you.
I'm proud of your story and your journey and where you came and all of that. And I don't gotta tell you, but keep going.
Yeah.
'Cause I know you ain't nowhere near finished. But I hope anybody watching this that need that inspirational motive or mentorship, or know somebody who do, share this story with them so they can reach out and get with Lucretia, because I think is necessary. I think when you talk about praying, I pray a lot about I would say just you meet like as a dude you meet a dude from Baltimore or any city. You can meet a nigga that's known like a street nigga that can show you the game anywhere, but there ain't too many people that you can meet that's gonna show you the right way.
Exactly.
Especially if you don't grow up around them, and then especially if you don't know how to meet people, you don't know how to network, things like that. You don't know how to get up under people. Everybody not receptive to, can you be my mentor? Can you show me this? Everybody ain't gonna give you that. So I definitely think that's very important, and I'm glad you shared that.
Thank you.
So whoever listening, like I said, reach out or share it with somebody who might need that.
Absolutely.
Because it's super important. We gotta help each other. We must teach what is taught to us. So, and
that's what we put here on earth to do.
Exactly.
Our story not for us, it's for other people.
For sure. For sure. And with that, if you got anything else you want to share?
No, I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Okay, cool. I got a lot more questions, but I want them to get the book, because they'll get the book and get all their answers too.
Maybe we can do a part 2.
Yeah, do a part 2. You follow up, roll me down the road. Are you going to do another book?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yes.
Say no more.
Yeah.
All right, till next time, we out. We Need Answers, episode 119.